Oh man, please. Oh, please, Pigmon. Please. Please, Pigmon. Please. I don't trust Kanagon, but I trust you. Give me $500 billion. Come on. I trust you, Pigmon. I don't trust Kanagon. I only trust you and my imagination. Yes, I'm learning just like Ark did to use my imagination. I just need $500 million. Come on, can a YouTuber catch a break? Imagination. Today at Tiger Drop Films, you probably guessed it, I'm going to talk about Ultraman Arc. Now, last time that I gave Ultraman Arc the big spotlight on my channel was last year with my The Art of Ultraman Fights, Ultraman Arc video, but today I wanted to go into the whole series now, because when I made that last Ultraman Arc video, only episode 1 released. In this video I'm going to talk about way more episodes. I'm definitely going to at least talk about 1 to 16, and some of the ones after that, and have a special guest on this episode, just you wait. So now, without further ado, let's get into the Imagination of Ultraman Arc. One of my favorite things about Ultraman Arc is how, once again, the amazing teams at Super Productions are able to revitalize and re-energize the Ultraman concept. And by that, I mean they breathe new life into it while doing something new and staying true to what makes Ultraman Ultraman. Now, what I just said, that still applies to many other Ultraman shows, such as Ultraman Blazar and many others. I'm just saying that again because I think Arc continues a trend of Ultraman being the series that's able to evolve while finding new themes that make sense for the franchise, such as imagination. Themes of imagination permeate throughout all of Ultraman Arc from every character. Not just our protagonist Yuma himself, but also characters such as Ren, Captain Bon, and Mr. Ishido, and even Yuppie. And I love that Arc is able to give so many of these supporting characters of Skip their own episodes of shine while dealing with their own themes of imagination. For instance, with Ren and the Captain, they both have episodes with their old mentors, or somebody they looked up to. While the outcomes of each of those episodes is different, I like that it ties into their own themes of their own, upbringing and what they saw in these mentors and their own imaginations, because imagination can be more than just our typical idea of it in a creative sense. It can also be how you remember someone, what you think they are of you, and what you thought of them, and so many things about your own bond with them. It can be many things. And in addition to that, we have Mr. Ishido, who has an episode that shows that sometimes our imagination can get the worst of us. Such as that episode at the hotel and the mountains, that little inn, the Mushroom Inn, I think is what it's called, where Mr. Ishido, or Shu, he lets the worst parts of his imagination get the best of him, and he thinks that the alien in that episode, the alien Seijin, was, well, an evil alien invader, but it turns out he wasn't. Stuff like that with all these supporting characters is great. And Yuppie, if you just look at him, he's just a happy guy. He's a good example of a good kind of AI, just a little buddy, and his little head pops up, he's like a little dog face. Yuppie's a cool little character. But, does he beat Sevenger for me? No, it's hard to beat Sevenger. Anyway, then you have Yuma himself. The big whole thing, what imagination's all about in the show. And I love that his dynamic of Arc himself is such a brilliant way to give life to the idea of Ultraman as host. And as we learn that Arc once saved Yuma as a kid, even though he feels guilt tripping that he couldn't save Yuma's parents, he bonded with Yuma that day in Hoshimoto City. And I love the idea that we get in episode 16, where we learn that the reason Arc looks like the Ultraman we know, or, just that silver and red color scheme at least, is because of Yuma's imagination as a kid. Isn't that great? A kid filled in the gaps on what Arc is all about, or what Ultraman looks like. I think that's brilliant. Because you look at the inception of Ultraman from the beginning, it was another masterpiece created by Eiji Tsuburaya, and later on would be adapted by Tsuburaya's own sons in the Showa era. So this idea of kids, or even if you're an adult, still having that imagination, that good, genuine imagination is amazing. And I love that in that same episode 16 it pays off because Arc himself uses his own imagination. We get Ultraman himself gets the spotlight. He uses his imagination to unlock his new galaxy armor. It's brilliant. Like, I'm serious. Like, I think that episode 116 reminded me a bit of how Ace would do it, where you have this main arc about some antagonists in the plot or something, and then it kind of shifts gears a little bit in the middle of the show. But in the context of Arc, the way he fights off Alien Swede and that Zeton monster is incredible. And I think that episode 16 really solidified Arc as a new favorite of mine. There's a great payoff. Throughout the show, we saw how Yuma and his own childhood drawings would come to life with Arc himself, and his flashbacks of his family. It's emotional, and the way that Arc tells Yuma that his imagination is what brought him back to life is just ethereal. It's phenomenal. It's a concept that works so well with Ultraman, and I can't believe that it took us this long to get a whole show just about imagination. Not that it hasn't happened before, but I think the concept, the way it was used here, was so fresh. And it makes Arc a nice companion piece to Blazar. And I love it when Ultraman shows have a new series that is able to just stand on its own, and it just looks great next to the previous shows. You know what I mean? And I could go on and on about Arc, and would you look at that? I'm getting a transmission. It's my good pal Brendan.
Hello? Hello? Testing. I think I got in. Hello there, folks. This is Brendan. You may have heard of me from G-Force, the Kaiju podcast, where I also speak with our lovely host Ike here. My work editing and writing for Total Kingdom's Kaiju War Chronicles, and some little things around the internet. I'm here because after getting the transmission from Ike, I need to send in my own transmission so that I can give my thoughts on Ultraman Arc. As someone who regarded Blazar as possibly the peak of the next-gen era, I won't lie and say I was kind of worried how Arc was going to compare. While I was charmed by its very classic show feel from the teasers, and I love the switch to a scientific defense team again, and of course, new kaiju suits are always a plus. The armor gimmick seemed a bit weak to me, and I was worried despite its promise of imagination, this would be a status quo return for Tsuburaya and Ultraman. And I honestly felt more obligated when I decided to check out the premiere. That will be honest and say I was kind of caught in the hype from the stellar Ultraman Rising that made me want to check out as much Ultraman content as possible. Well, I've been this proud to eat my words since high school because Arc is phenomenal. The biggest thing I love about this show is the much more narrow focus it has on the typical formula. We're focusing on one city, its local defense force, and the one Ultraman who's devoted to defending it. It's a welcome change, and to me, honestly gives me the vibes of a Ghibli film at times. It makes the world feel a bit more real, which helps the science fantasy of Ultraman hit harder. This especially applies to the characters. I feel they may not be as fleshed out as some of the other defense teams. All Skip are really good characters. Rin feels down to earth in comparison to the bigger personalities in a way I like very much, especially with her episodes Goodbye Ren and the Wishing Bird, showing a secret hope that makes her feel fleshed out. The Chief is awkward but kind in the same kind of way we've seen in the past, which I always appreciate, and I think his character feeling reserved and as if he's messed up dealing with kaiju as a life decision is a very nice little character, arc. Shu is a wonderful character. I really enjoy watching him. He seems unknowable at first, but the more we see of him, the more we see he has a secret golden heart, and it makes him a very interesting take on the agent from the government trope we see so many times in kaiju media. And of course, Yuppie isn't the best mecha in an Ultra show. Please, Tsuburaya, if you're watching this, bring back my son Sevenger, please. I miss him so much. Where is he gone? But he's a fun comic relief. And Yuma, well, more on that later. Moving on to kaiju, I love the aesthetic Arc provides. Ever since Orb, I feel Tsuburaya just locked into the perfect mix of classic Showa sensibilities and genuine, beautiful craftsmanship for their kaiju. I love all of Arc's new rogues like Shadong, Lyoto, Livijira, the various Gelos, and especially the Dime. I, for one, welcome our new Cube Next-Gen Zeton. But yeah, there's a perfect mix of inventive new roles and new designs for kaiju. I'm still not over the Gomez episode, and that Canagon episode is just straight up hilarious. And of course, these returning kaijus have some truly beautiful episodes. It was a thrill to see King of Mons again. I'll keep this short by not gushing as much as I can about how much I love the Blazar crossover. Zango, my beloved, rest in peace to a real one. Not to mention, this show has some truly insane and imaginative fight choreography. The armors truly make some fun takes on how the fight can go, whether it's a straight-up brawl with a solar one, a speedy clash with the lunar, and then just the absolute mind-bending awesomeness of the galaxy one. Seriously, Subaru, if there's anything we can take from Vet's Gamma Future form and the galaxy armor, it's that you need to start doing really weird shit with Ultraman again. It goes so hard. Even when they don't show up, though, seeing Arc come up with new ideas mid-fight to win is always amazing. I still love that moment with the shield being used as a WWE table. Finally, the thing I love the most about this show and its Ultra Pair is the theme. No, not just imagination, but the theme of hope at Arc's core. Yuma is a man who struggled with his entire world changing in an instant, and now thrust into the role of protecting this same world from the same threats for hundreds of others. And yet, despite these heavy stakes, we never see Yuma hesitate. In fact, I feel this has been the first time in a while that the Ultra Host has been judged so much for rushing to fight kaiju no hesitation. And I think that tenacity of Yuma can be attributed to the hope that pushes his character, and really the whole show. Arc imagined a world where even if things aren't always perfect, we have to hope for the better. That despite the odds being stacked, there's a better world if we only imagine it. That as lonely as we are, there's a friend out there in the stars for us. That despite the pain we suffered, we need to believe in others and accept the good and the bad. That even if we lost the things that made us, they've helped us become better people for the world that we have ended up in. Even if all the odds are stacked against us, we can't stand by and let it happen. It's time to run and face the future and fight to make it better. I can't think of anything more Ultraman than that. Uh-oh. Shit, I think I know the guy's transmission. I'm gonna have to go. Ike, finish it up, buddy.
Oh, man. That was groovy, Brendan. Well said, my man. That was Brendan from our podcast, G-Force, a kaiju podcast for all things tokusatsu and more of kaiju. And Brendan, my man, thank you so much for being on here. You hit the nail on the head. And I love your final statement about Arc and the hope of humanity. That indomitable human spirit that is Ultraman. Well said, my friend. Well said. And with that in mind, Brendan, what he said, and what I've talked about earlier about Arc and different ways imagination permeates throughout each character and the overall aesthetic of the show, I just think that when it comes to phenomenal fights, the awesome aesthetic, the music, the way that Arc himself feels so old school but new, I think that Ultraman Arc is a testament to what new life in a franchise can really mean. And Ultraman, quite frankly, has been hitting out of the park year after year. And I see a bunch of golden roads ahead for Serena Productions and Ultraman. Just this last year we had Ultraman Rising, and before that Shin Ultraman. And a bunch of stage shows and other short films. We even had a little mini-series about Ultraman Regulus, which I have a video on that too. I thought was a bit of a new gen Ultraman Leo, so to speak. Things like that. There's so much going on in the franchise. And I love that we can all have a main Ultraman show to jump back into. And I think Arc really is amazing. It's astonishing. It fits the mold that Ultraman is. And I can't wait to see how the series wraps up with its new film coming out, the Ultraman Arc film. I mean, really, Subaraya, what a way to keep evolving Ultraman. You're killing it. Amazing fights, music, themes, and characters. This is what Ultraman's all about. This is what Tokusatsu is all about. And if you haven't checked out Ultraman Arc yet, then you better. There's plenty of great monsters, aliens, and themes. And like that episode where we had the guy who lived in his apartment and he made a friend on another alien planet. That episode was tear-jerking. I mentioned the episode earlier about Mr. Shu and the alien at the Mushroom Inn. Episode Ren and her mentor. And just everything about the show is amazing. gives the humans the spotlight, it gives the kaiju and the aliens the spotlight, it gives humanity a chance, and surprisingly of all, it allows Ultraman to really develop himself. I'm telling you, Ultraman Arc is a new favorite of mine. Plethora of incredible episodes, you better check it out. And thank you so much for watching Hyper Tiger Drop Films. Let's start off the new year strong with Ultraman, and I've got plenty of other videos over other things I like coming out soon. So, thank you for watching. Be sure to check out G-Force the Kaiju podcast, and I'll see you in the next one. Showatch.